fellow citizens of the galaxy, I do not belong on this planet. I am one of you. I am being held against my will. My potential to realize a happy and fulfilled life nullified by the ignorant and cruel indigenous population of Earth. You must save me. Take me away from this. Desperately in need of your assistance. Mike Pillsbury.
Wait, what?
Fuck you. I'm mad.
What the heck? Now we have to do it again.
And then you edit in a little lightning strike, and
Uh-huh.
you'll love it. All
Okay.
3 Can of Worms fans. And that's us.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to the DCOM Duo podcast.
I'm Benji.
I'm Kelsey.
Right.
That's someone else who just kind of showed up.
We have a special guest today.
Kiki! We have a cat on the podcast today. I'm her translator.
Beans is back.
Hi.
If anyone doesn't know who this
remember me.
is, you were on our Genius episode.
Yeah. And I'm here to make good on a threat I made in that episode to end this podcast if that one didn't get... I don't even remember what I said on
I think everyone had to comment something.
You had to comment something specific. I don't know, you should watch that one and do it.
If you've made it this far into the YouTube video, you should comment.
If you're this... Only comment. Don't subscribe, just comment.
I'm cool with that.
We're going to see if comments matter more than anything else.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
DCOM Duo!
So today, we are talking about Can of Worms.
The absolute classic.
I love this one.
That everyone remembers so fondly.
I
loved it as a kid.
You're such a liar. You did not see any DCOM before you lived with us.
Yeah, but Can of Worms really brings you back to that feeling of being a kid. You're all alone in the universe.
Uh-huh.
An alien makes popcorn after eating your lunch. You prank your bully by putting his face on a pig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is all stuff that reminds me of my childhood.
Exactly.
Football.
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah, being very good at football.
So, Beans, this is when you pushed for hard when we were watching the original marathon.
Beans, if for people who don't know, because not everyone will have watched the Genius episode, which again, pause this, go watch that.
You should.
It's important context for all of this.
Yeah, leave the comment that you're supposed to leave here, go to that video, then leave the comment you're supposed to leave there.
Yeah.
But because you don't know what to comment, you should watch the whole thing so that you know.
Exactly.
But he has also seen every single DCOM. He's the one other person in our marathon.
Incredibly.
Yeah.
I did sit through these with them.
Yep. We've seen all of them together, and we held hands the whole time.
Yeah, I had to pull their hands over my eyes at that one time where the girl had to spell goat.
Girl versus Monster. Iconic movie.
Iconic. Yeah, and you really wanted to watch this one.
Yeah, well, because when we started them out, I had no idea what any of them were.
Yeah.
So I went by the tried and true of this one has a funny poster. And this one has a weird, Muppet on it. So I was like, yeah, that's funny. Then everyone was like, no, we want to watch a good one. So I'm like, okay. And then that's how we got Genius after months of me pushing for it. But Can of Worms was always in the back of everyone's mind. Like, when are we going to watch this one?
It was
because he won't shut up about it.
Yeah, it was like a year in.
It took like a year.
But yeah. So we watched it. It's absolutely crazy. And we're going to talk about it today.
I'm going to just spoil this right now. This is by a significant margin out of films we have covered on the podcast so far, highest ranked in the house.
Yeah, it is. It's absurdly high in the rankings.
It deserves it.
It's because it's crazy.
It's wild. It's all the best ways.
It's a wild ride. If you like bad movies...
Yeah, it's bad movies and
movies that trust themselves too much.
And they're just a little silly goofy.
This movie takes itself so seriously, but more importantly, has full confidence in its lore that it just will not, it will say something a one-off line. That's bonkers, and you just have to accept it as fact.
Yeah.
And also, like, portals are like doghouses for one planet.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's an alien that doesn't talk.
There is?
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Okay. So yeah, first off, no fan mail. We're recording this like in between Double Teamed and Naughty Nine as like a backup, but the plan is to release it after Naughty Nine. So we're from the past.
Yeah.
Gee, I sure hope horrible event that happens in between the recording of this and next movie sure doesn't happen.
Yeah. Way to call that one out. That would be terrible.
That would be awful.
Anyway, if you have any thoughts, email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com. Cool.
Yeah. Also follow the TikTok. I'm gonna say it now.
Follow the TikTok, the DCOM duo. Thank you. Let's get into Can of Worms. We got a lot to talk about.
So much to talk about.
So, Can of Worms. We're doing factos right now. Can of Worms was released April 10th, 1999. It was
I was not born yet.
Literally, this movie is older than me.
Yeah, okay, I was born. I was the only one out of the three of us that was born. I was less than a year old, though. It was the 6th ever DCOM.
That tracks.
Yeah.
This movie was definitely still an identity crisis DCOM.
Yeah.
They didn't know what they wanted it to be.
But it's like in a good way.
Yeah.
Whereas with a lot of early DCOMs, you have like identity crisis in a bad way, where you have like, you lucky dog, he's a dog, he goes.
And he's also an adult?
He's an adult.
Can of Worms was directed by Paul Schneider. Not the same Paul Schneider that was in Parks and Recreation. Different guy.
Not Rob Schneider.
Not Rob Schneider. Different
not Dan
guy.
Schneider.
No.
Oh
my god, thank God. Paul Schneider also directed You Lucky Dog, which is a DCOM.
What? How?
This is the fun stuff we learned with
this movie's good and You Lucky Dog isn't good.
How do you make something like, how do you make two things that are on such like vast opposite sides of the spectrum?
I think this is the biggest gap a director has in our personal preference of movies.
And these are the only DCOMs he's done, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy. This is literally a top 10 and a bottom 10.
Yeah, for real.
And they're like 1 year apart.
Yeah. It's insane.
Like, now that you've mentioned that, I'm like, a little bit earlier I was talking about like how we have a lot of weird like musical stings happening just in the background with the sound design. I'm like, oh god, yeah, You Lucky Dog had a lot of that too, didn't it?
It really went dun dun.
He didn't really direct anything else big, just like a lot of low budget stuff. So yeah. Now for our cast. Our main character, Mike Pillsbury, is played by Michael Schulman. He hasn't done a lot. He was in 4 episodes of Recess. You guys know the animated show? That was
I know, but I didn't watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, he did that. And he's also pretty involved in Broadway. He like acted as a kid, and now in adulthood he like produces shows. And he's been nominated for some Tony Awards.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. His like the shows that he's like helped produce have
so
like
he's like a producer now.
Yeah. From what I could tell. Caitlin is played by Erica Christensen. She has not done a lot, but I saw that she was in the recent adaptation of Cheaper by the Dozen. She plays Kate. So she's played 2 Caitlins. I haven't seen Cheaper by the Dozen, so I don't know if that's a big role or not.
I feel like maybe. I have not seen it in a while, and it's not that good. Sorry, Ellie.
Nick, who's Mike's best friend, is played by Adam Wiley. We've heard that name before. Yeah. He was in the original Under Wraps, the very first DCOM. He was also the friend in that one. So we talked about him in our Under Wraps episode. Right. So if you want to know a little bit more about what he's done, you can check that episode out. He was in Under Wraps 2, like the recent one, since he was in the original Under Wraps.
Oh.
Yeah, he played Bueller the Jeweler.
What?
You remember Under Wraps 2?
I remember Under Wraps 2. I don't remember Bueller the Jeweler.
Well, it's Adam Wiley.
Okay.
It's like the most important role in the movie.
I also mentioned in Under Wraps that he like does close-up magic on TikTok now.
Then why didn't they put him in the magic DCOM?
Well, he didn't know it then.
Yeah, he was just a kid back then. He didn't do magic till his adulthood because he's cool now.
Doing magic as an adult is very cool.
Our jock character, Scott, is played by Marcus Turner. He was in Air Bud Golden Receiver.
Shout out.
As Giants quarterback.
It's like the second best Air Bud movie.
Quick, rank the Air Bud movies for me. There's 5 of them, I believe.
Air Bud Golden
Receiver.
That one's third.
World Pup. What about that one?
That was not on the list.
Seventh Inning
Yeah,
Catch.
Con Air is number 4. And then the Paw Patrol movie is number 5.
You know, they finally added the Air Bud movies to Disney Plus.
We're so excited.
We're so stoked about it.
Wasn't that like one of the things we were potentially doing instead of DCOMs?
We definitely talked about watching them, but they were not on any streaming service, and we were so mad about it. And we refused to pirate it.
We don't have the dignity.
It's not worth it.
Airbud deserves the money. Pay the estate.
For real. Okay, so back to Marcus Turner. Can of Worms was his last project. There's no information on this guy. He doesn't have a Wikipedia. I couldn't find anything about what he's been doing. I don't even know if he's alive.
Dang.
I hope
Just completely off the grid.
Completely off the grid after Can of Worms.
Marcus Turner, contact us. We'd love to have you on the podcast.
He just stocks Can of Worms content.
Like, this is where I peaked.
Oh.
You don't like the concept of peaking with
It's like
Can of Worms?
A great movie. It's not a great last project movie.
I know.
And like not to be mean, I don't think it's a great last project for like Scott in particular.
Mike's sister Jill is played by Brighton Herfort. She is in Return to Halloween Town as young Persimmon Periwinkle.
Sure.
Obviously a huge character.
My favorite.
She was also in like an old Mary-Kate and Ashley movie as a kid as Brighton, which is her name. So I guess she was just like one of their friends. I don't know. Oh, she was also in The Parent Trap, like the Lindsay Lohan one, just as like one of the campers. So, heck yeah, I love Parent.
I feel like I somewhat recognize the face.
Right? Yeah. Okay, next, finally, this is the last character I have down. Barnabas is voiced by Malcolm McDowell.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you recognize that name?
I couldn't put like a name to a face, but like he's like a pretty big name.
Yeah. He's done like a good bit of voice acting and some like real acting.
No, he's
real
acting.
Like in-person acting.
He's like a name you recognize.
Yeah, he voices Grandpa Reginald in Phineas and Ferb.
That's your Disney connection.
Yeah, he was also in Bolt as Dr. Calico, which is like the villain. He was in Easy A as the principal, which that's a good movie. He's also in A Clockwork Orange.
That's just a very, very famous movie.
Yeah, I've never seen it. So he played Alex DeLarge. I don't know if that's a big character or not.
I have not seen Clockwork Orange. I just
been
know.
In a hot minute.
It looks like Wikipedia says that's the main character.
Oh, he's the main character in A Clockwork Orange, guys. So, this is definitely the biggest name. When I would see reviews for Can of Worms, everybody mentioned him playing Barnabas. So,
what are reviews of Can of Worms like?
They're not great from what I saw.
They're not great. Yeah, people don't really vibe.
People don't get it.
They don't understand.
They really don't.
Okay, so now into my fun facts. This is the first Disney Channel original movie to receive a TV PG rating.
I feel like You Lucky Dog should have been PG.
There's literally a gun in You Lucky Dog.
Under Wraps starts with like a murder.
Yeah.
For real.
Under Wraps, the first 5 minutes of DCOM's period is the most scary moment of any DCOM.
Like a murder scene, and then like an old man dies and like also pulls a gun on them.
Oh yeah, there's a gun under wraps.
There's a gun under wraps. I guess that one was okay.
Yeah. Disney Channel does consider this a Halloween movie, which okay.
Was there's a Halloween party in it?
Yeah. And that's it. Like it would air in like certain Halloween marathon like specials, right? Where they air a bunch of Halloween DCOMs. Mm-hmm. It would air sometimes with that. Like it didn't air often. There's a section in the Wikipedia page. It's like this is the times it would air on Disney Channel. Like it was every few years. Like it wasn't a frequent flyer.
No, this is a good movie for them to air at like 3 a.m. on Disney
This is
Channel,
a very good 3 a.m.
where you have like the people waking up after forgetting to turn the TV off, and you see like some of the alien scenes.
I feel like that is just with you for life.
Yeah.
That would be a wonderful experience.
Seeing the Bohm at 4 a.m. changes a man.
Okay, so this movie is based on a book.
And man, wouldn't it be great if we brought in a special guest into this podcast who read the book,
who loves Can of Worms so much that they read the book,
and is willing to describe it for us.
So, I may have done a little extra research for this one.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I watched the movie, and they're lying to you, but you should like, comment, and subscribe anyway.
I thought we were just commenting.
No, sorry. After this lie, you really need the extra help.
Well, that's okay, because I actually did read the book yesterday.
Oh. Why do you do this to me every time? This is why I don't come on anymore.
I found the book online, like in an archive website for free, and it was like 140 pages of middle school level, and like I could read them.
Did they clarify whether or not Mike's an alien in that one? Because they sure didn't.
I'm so mad afterwards because I'm like, I swear they did, but then they kind of go back and he's like, how can I understand them? like he's still not sure if he's an alien. I'm so mad about it. Anyway, I can talk about some of the differences. When I started reading, I was like, holy crap, this is accurate. Right. Like, so much of it is the same, and the changes they made, like, are changes that make sense. Okay. So here are the big differences. Barnabas is a poodle in the book. Also, he walks on 2 legs, like, most of the time.
Okay. They should have totally gotten a puppet for that. That would have been so much funnier than what we got.
Okay, I love the current Barnabas.
I do like the dog that plays Barnabas.
I like the dog. I don't like the Barnabas part of him, where he's got like the gross lip necklace.
Yeah. He's a poodle. I think movie Barnabas is cuter than a poodle would have been.
Yeah.
But yeah.
A poodle on 2 legs.
There's more aliens in the book, but that just makes sense and like budget wise. There's way more football. Like football's way more important in the book. The main villain is different. So in the movie it's the Thode, which is like a big frog guy. In the book, the bad guy's name is Blade. He's like a snake. But
all this drama.
Like an anthropomorphized snake guy. And he's like from the race that's called the Jongs, which are the evil alien race that like are hurting the Hansels.
Is he supposed to be the one that Mike sees in like his dream when he gets?
Probably. I don't know. He does have a zoo, like that part's the same on his spaceship, and like the way it works is he actually landed the spaceship on Earth, and it's small, but the inside is like really, really big. He like bends space to make the inside really big, but the outside really small. So yeah, and he like collects creatures. Yeah. Also in the movie they like use Scott as bait because he's like
he's so perfect.
He's so perfect. In the book they use Caitlin as bait, and then they just like ask Scott for help.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think Caitlin is probably like a more interesting person.
Yeah, and Caitlin's like so into Mike in the book, and it's so funny because Mike the whole time, like, you know, he gets bullied at the dance or whatever. They like ruined the thing that's supposed to happen.
We're spoiling the whole movie, but like,
we're about to talk about it.
We're
like,
gonna talk about the movie. Literally no plot. This is a plot-based movie where the plot's crazy, and I don't care about it.
Yeah.
No, the plot is not what keeps you around for Can of Worms.
I'm assuming everyone listening has seen Can of Worms.
If you clicked on this and got this far into this podcast without seeing Can of Worms, you're gonna like it.
It's
great. It's
if
amazing.
If you've not been turned off by it now, just go watch it.
Yeah. What was I saying?
Caitlin.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Mike, like, is sad and he does the transmitted, like, message, like, please come save me. But then after that, Caitlin's like, you know, like, we should hang out, like, we should be more than friends, is what they keep saying. Also, they're in middle school in the book, which isn't, like, that big of a difference. But he's like, oh, I really want to leave this planet, but, like, Caitlin likes me. I want to stay. Like, it's actually so easy to convince him to stay. It's mainly just Caitlin. He's like, she's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. Yeah. And she's like actually super into him.
That's one thing I did appreciate about this movie is that it's like they actually do seem to like each other.
Yeah.
Which is rare for a DCOM.
It is rare.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier that, like, it's so easy to, like, stroke this guy's ego.
He will go along with anything if you say one compliment.
Yeah, and in the book, Mike tells his, like, Hansel stories to more than just Jay. There's, like, other, like, 10-year-olds. And he's like, yeah, they all worship me.
I like that a lot less, honestly. I think it's
like
way cuter when it's like...
It's just Jay.
Because that makes Jay, like, the best wingman ever. Because he's running up to this random girl that he probably doesn't know. And it's like, hey, Mike tells all these really cool stories. You should totally talk to him.
In the book, Jay is 5 years old. And he's just the neighbor. He's not Nick's little brother. But, I mean, that's fine. At the end, they totally kill the villain. Like, straight up, they murder this guy.
I get why they changed that.
The police do not come to arrest him. No,
Cops?
there's no space cop.
I would miss the space cops.
Read the book.
No space cop. They just murder him. Also, okay.
Straight cold-blooded murder.
So the Hansels, the alien race that he's, like, quote-unquote from, they can fly.
Right.
And in the book, he says... I flew, like I started flying, and that was the end of the chapter. But then he's still like, I don't know if I'm one of them. Like, it's so frustrating. They just leave it open. And I guess the Hansels just kind of look human, but they have green eyes and brown hair. And he's like, I don't fit in with my family. They have blue eyes. Like, I'm not one of them.
What? Someone has green eyes from a blue-eye family?
Yeah.
That's impossible.
Also the monologue that we said at the beginning of the episode, that Mike says in the movie.
You ready to say it again?
Oh.
No. It's slightly different in the book. Not a lot. The gist of there, he's like, fellows of the galaxy, I don't belong, I'm being held against my will. He doesn't say, like, the indigenous people. Okay. Like, whatever.
Does he still scream, come get me at the end?
No. He was just like,
the movie made changes for the better.
He's like, please, come take me away. He doesn't yell, come and get me.
It's incredible how much better movie Mike is just from these small blurbs.
Yeah. But the whole monologue is on the back of the book, which I think is hilarious.
That's a good back cover.
That's why they had it at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. So then finally for my fun facts, Kathy Mackle is the author of the book. She also was writing the movie. So on Wikipedia it says, after her first rewrite on the film's script, Kathy Mackle was replaced by a new writer who did 3 rewrites. However, Disney was not impressed with the script and rehired Mackle, although very few of her suggestions were used for this script. Mackle subsequently contested for sole screenwriting credit on the script and won through the Writers Guild arbitration process. Also, so this movie came out in 1999? The book came out in 1999.
They were, like, written in conjunction.
They were, like, together.
It's like the...
Descendants?
No, the new Freaky Friday where they made the stage show and the movie at the same time.
Oh, maybe.
I thought they made the movie after.
I wonder if she was working on this book and Disney caught wind of it or something and was like,
"You're like, this seems like a hit."
Yeah, I don't know.
They were wrong. I do not think this movie did numbers.
I could not find anything about like why they came out in the same year, but the author was working on both, so yeah, and that's why it's like pretty accurate because literally she had her hands on it. So yeah, that's my fun facts and my book insight.
Thank you for reading for us.
Yeah, it only took like 2 hours.
Way to read that middle school text.
You did. Totally worth it.
Were there any pictures?
There were not. But the cover art of the book was pretty cool because there's all the aliens and like Barnabas was there too. So that was fun.
Well, Barnabas is an alien, so.
Yeah. Okay, are we ready for the Disney Plus description?
Oh, I'm always ready for the Disney.
Give me the DPD.
Mike Pillsbury identifies more with the imaginary aliens he spins elaborate stories about than he does with kids his own age. So he broadcasts a plea into space begging aliens to come and take him away. But Mike gets more than he bargained for when they actually show up. Now that he has opened up a can of worms, Mike scrambles to enlist the help of his friends to help save the world.
I feel like this brings up a good point. Can of Worms is a weird name for this movie.
He opened up the can of worms.
Like, I get that, but it's like...
It's Barbara says it twice, and that's all it has to do with it.
They say it like twice in the book, too.
Yeah.
It's just... It is not that descriptive. Can of Worms can mean a lot of different things, and what it doesn't normally mean is aliens. That's all I'm going to say. The Disney Plus description is fine.
Yeah.
No, it's actually pretty accurate for a Disney Plus description.
Yeah, it doesning get, like, basic info wrong, so...
Like
A+.
Halloween Town. Both Halloween Towns, the descriptions suck.
Both of them.
Well,
we haven't covered 3 and 4,
the
so...
first 2 that we've covered.
Right.
Yeah.
So surely they're only going up from here.
Yeah.
Before jumping in to this all, I would love to, like, pause for a second just to check the audio and figure it out. Put another weird lips on Barnabas, baby.
Don't put any lips on Barnabas. He does not deserve love.
What do you mean?
Barnabas is great.
Barnabas is freaky.
You just hate the Peace Corps.
Yes.
I love Barnabas. We're ready to jump into the movie.
Oh shit, was that on my?
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, I love Barnabas. Barnabas fan.
This is new controversy in the Can of Worms fandom.
Okay.
Cans of Worms fandom getting heated.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
So lightning strikes.
Boom.
Oh.
Mike comes out with his computer and like a big satellite.
Just has in the back of his house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just in the back.
There is actually a plot reason.
I know, but it's still
weird.
a strange place to keep a big satellite.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of wires and stuff, and he's hooking it up. And he writes an email using speech to text. Everything on his computer is speech to text. He has a little headset.
Yeah, it's 99.
This
big
is
thing.
very possible.
Technology. Yeah. And he says, fellow citizens of the galaxy.
I do not belong on this planet.
I'm one of you.
I'm being held against my will.
I have potential to realize a happy and fulfilled life.
Nullified by the ignorant and cruel indigenous population of Earth.
You must save me.
Take me away from this.
Desperately needing your assistance.
Mike Pillsbury.
Chad Anthony.
I get all the movies with really fun character names.
And then he hesitates before he hits send.
Yeah, he takes a little.
He's like, shall I? And then he hits send, and the satellite beams up the message to space. And then he says, "Yes, Robin, get me."
The most evil sounding, like, yes.
Yes.
Evil scientist laugh.
And then the satellite gets struck by lightning.
And then you have the weird, zoom in on the email. It just keeps zooming in closer and closer on the send button. Send.
It fades to black and says 2 weeks earlier.
2 weeks earlier.
I just want to say, there's heavy competition for this. Heavy competition. I think bar none, this is the best opening to a DCOM.
It is.
It's like this and like maybe Alley Cat Strike.
Yeah, that one's pretty fun.
There's like
But this one goes hard.
this one goes so hard. Like
It goes so hard that they use it again.
yes, this scene gets played in full again
in its entirety.
This is like a minute and a half long scene.
It's a flash forward where they just do it again.
Yeah.
Again, it's worth it because it's incredible, but also kind of weird, especially in a movie that's less than an hour and a half
less
long.
than an hour and a half.
And also desperately needs more time to explain things.
It's like too short and too long at the same time.
We don't even know if Mike's an alien. We have to show him sending a message twice.
Yes.
So 2 weeks earlier, Mike's like up in his treehouse with Jay and Nick, which Jay is Nick's little brother.
Yeah.
And Mike's talking about the alien people that he like made up. They're called the Hansels. They're peaceful. And
I'm more of a fan of the Grettles.
They're peaceful people, and they have pink skin and big pointy ears. And they were like attacked by other aliens. And Jay goes, "This is too sad."
I love Jay so much.
He's so into it.
He's so
into it, and he also just like says all of his emotions.
Yes.
It's very cute.
This movie, despite being a visual spectacle, is extremely tell don't show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The alien dad died. Sad. But I think Jay goes, yes, save the baby. And
cute.
The baby sent off like Superman to a planet far, far away.
Yeah, they like put him in a space pod and sent him off to Earth.
And plot twist, this is the real life story of one Mike Pillsbury Doughboy.
Maybe.
We think.
He says the baby will never really feel at home on Earth, never feel like he belongs. He'll never feel as though this is the place he can spend his life. He's so dramatic.
Mike Pillsbury has a very delightful way of delivering lines. I don't know how to describe everything about it, but it's my favorite type of a character where he is our hero. We're supposed to cheer for him, and I feel like I do cheer for him. But also, I hate him and love him. He's kind of terrible, but also like charming.
It's like he has his problems, but they're like very much the problems of an antisocial teenager, and it's like not in a creepy way.
Yeah.
He's just like kind of awkward.
He kind of weirdly rides that line, considering it is very easy for a teenager to be awkward in a creepy way, but he's never creepy.
No, he's not. And I fully expected him to be creepy.
Yeah, it's like he feels like he fits the like, late 90s nerd archetype of just really, really creepy that wouldn't age well, but like
no, he aged completely fine.
Yeah, like he's just like kind of an awkward kid who likes a girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he always has his mouth slightly open when like reacting to things, and I found that very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also he has like a little PowerPoint with like images to show Jay. I just found it really funny that you have like the dad, when he dies, he just gets killed by like a PowerPoint transition.
It just fades out. Mm-hmm. He's dead.
Star wiped to someone's corpse.
So that's basically Star Wars editing, let's be real.
So Nick's like, stop being weird, Mike. And then Mike gets called over by his dad to go to the field for sports. His dad wants him to be in sports to build character. So cut to Mike getting decked at football.
Mike, we should mention, is a very scrawny guy.
Yeah, scrawny guy is like,
yes.
I don't know football, but I feel like that's not the kind of person you put on defense, which is apparently what he is.
They put him at the position where you would put the smallest defender, generically, at safety. Defense is generally bigger overall, but he's a safety. They're mostly there to run and get in the way rather than do tackling. They're there to tackle if someone breaks free. They're not there to go hit a bunch of people.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, he's not there in the heat of it.
I am the football commentator of this crew.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Mike gets bullied for sucking at football. And also he's in love with a cheerleader. That's Caitlin. Also, Caitlin's not a cheerleader in the book, by the way. She plays field hockey.
Yeah.
Big dip.
Yeah, because they have all these like weird slow-mos that just like
She's the dream girl.
Yeah, she's
but
just
so
like
there's that's like
go
awkward
team.
angles for like the like big dream girl shot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it just like feels really weird. Like they feel almost like candid shots unless it's like oh, it's her. It's like, why are we zooming in on this girl?
I wrote bully because I didn't know it was Scott at first. So Scott the bully. He says cheerleaders are a lost cause for Mike. And Mike is not good at sports, but he intercepts the ball kind of by mistake, like he just catches it.
It's basically a deep shot down the middle of the field. Mike, whose job in that play is basically run as far back as possible, lucks into holding the football.
Yeah. And they're like, run, Mike, run. And somehow nobody tackles him, and then he ends up going the wrong direction.
Yeah. Okay.
He's an idiot.
Okay.
When it comes to sports.
This is where I get to talk a bit about football.
Yeah, no,
now.
does this make sense or is he just bad?
So, Mike intercepts the ball. He catches the ball. He runs about 10 yards in one way. He gets spun around by like someone trying to tackle him on the former offense. And after that, he just keeps running and he doesn't realize he's running the wrong way. Then he gets tackled by Scott, and that's the end of the play.
Right.
There's a very famous moment by a very famous Minnesota Viking player, Jim Marshall, where he recovered a fumble and ran 80 yards in the opposite direction into like the wrong end zone, threw the ball in celebration, it went out of bounds, so that's a safety against the Vikings.
Which is like 2 points.
2 points, yeah, for the other team. And it's like considered one of the biggest goofs. It's the only reason that the player's not in the NFL Hall of Fame, because otherwise he was like a phenomenal player. And the Vikings even like won the game. It's just like a very silly, stupid goof.
How did he not hear everyone yelling at him?
Are you talking about in real life?
Yeah.
In that one, like, you're just kind of adrenaline.
Yeah,
helmet
like,
block out a lot of noise.
That one I get because like crowds can be loud.
Yeah.
You're wearing a big helmet.
And he thinks everyone's cheering him on.
Yep.
Probably.
Yeah. So it's really the same thing for Mike. They're probably honestly like referencing that moment. It's a very famous moment in NFL history.
Yeah.
And yeah, he gets tackled by his teammate, which is what should have happened in the Jim Marshall's case, but Jim Marshall was too fast.
Yeah. So when Mike gets hit down, he starts having like a vision of aliens, and it's like an alien hand, and he starts yelling like, "Don't let them get me! They want my brain!
Don't come get me!
Don't come get me!" This.
He has a change of heart real quick.
Yeah. And they're like, "Is he gonna be all right?" And then he like wakes up, and they're like, "All right, cool, let's go," and they just like leave him on the ground.
Yeah, this is where I started thinking that like Mike's dad is really creepy. It's like his son is just like lying there talking about aliens getting his brain, and he's just like all smiles, like, "Come on, get up, Mike, you got this.
You're all right, boy."
Everyone just thinks he's concussed, and because this is the 90s, no one cares about that.
The dad's just like, "Hey, better at sports."
What's that boy you say you're seeing a weird
You want a
spacesuit
Letterman
Muppet?
jacket?
That's something a hot towel will fix.
Cut to Mike working on his satellite, so we know he's gonna send a message later. So he's working on the satellite right now. Mom calls him in, and everything on his computer is voice activated. He's like, "Computer, shut down." Mom does business on the phone.
I think she's like a TV something.
She works in television, like trying to like do stuff. This is why she has the big satellite dish.
And she speaks German.
Yeah.
Because she's cool like that.
Because she's cool. And Mike has some cereal, and
nice.
Jill asks how his head is. Jill's his sister. And she's like, "Cool. I need help with computer class." And Mike knows about computer stuff.
What? How could we expect him to know about computers? There's been no scenes previously that show him working on computers.
Yeah, he only gets good at computers like 20 minutes from now.
Yeah, and Jill's like, you're definitely from another planet.
Jill, the entire movie, claims that Mike's an alien, and this really hurts his psyche.
And in the book, she's older than him?
It's like, this entire movie, I'm like, Mike, honey, the reason you like don't fit in is because your family's just very mean to you.
Yeah.
The mom's fine.
He doesn't belong in his own family.
Like, your mom's okay, but she's like super busy and just doesn't like have time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Dad checks in on his stonks.
Yeah, he really goes like, oh, I'm gonna turn on my old computer and look at one graph
to get my one stock graph.
But a pig shows up on his screen and he's like, Mike, I went from stock to stockyard.
Oh,
he's so funny.
He's so funny and cool. I love him so much.
And Mike's like, I just needed the extra RAM for a little programming project, new graphics card.
We know what this project is later.
Yeah. Yeah, Benji was like, they never explain it.
No,
and
they
do like the next scene. But in the moment, you're like, what was that for?
It's this fun era of DCOMs where like the writers aren't fully aware how computers work.
Yeah, you can't really borrow RAM like that. That is not how
he needed a better computer.
Yes.
But even if that was the case, the way that the error happened doesn't make sense. No. It just shows a picture of a pig on the screen.
No, he was testing out the pig.
It makes even less sense in a later scene.
Yes.
Like, yeah, these writers...
The way that the hack will work.
These writers are not the best about how computers work.
It don't make sense.
Yeah, you gotta remember, this is before computers were popular.
99.
This was written on a typewriter.
Yeah, so Dad's like, you need more fresh air. Football. And Mike's like, I don't know if football's for me. And Dad's like, want to hear the word can't from you. And he's like, did I say can't?
No, Mike, you have to live my dreams for me.
You have to get that jacket,
Mike. Mike, just imagine a Letterman jacket. That's it. Take it. Get it.
I think the dad wants him to get a jacket so he can wear it. Like the dad can
I think
wear
the dad wants a jacket because he's cold.
That's why he's always smiling.
So at school, Mike gets bullied some more by Scott Schreibner.
Ooh, what a good villain, bully, jock, Mr. Perfect name. But it's not.
It's not.
Schreibner is usually the name of the nerd, and Pillsbury easily be the name of the jock.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
So apparently Scott is good at sports and computers. Wow, he has it all.
So perfect.
He's so perfect. Cute girl comes in. Oh, that's Caitlin. And she sits next to Mike.
She specifically does not sit next to Scott.
Big scene of every teenage boy in this class seeing a woman for the first time. You have all this awkward slow-mo.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's like, I don't want to sit next to Scott.
Ignore the fact that there's other women in this class.
They're not as cool as Caitlin.
Yeah.
Mike is like bamboozled that a girl's next to him. And then Scott puts a disc into his computer.
A floppy disk just goes whoop.
Whoop, and it somehow hacks Mike's computer. And there's like graphics and it trash talks Mike.
Pretty funny, honestly.
I don't know how that would work. I don't know how that works.
It's entirely possible for these computers to be connected to each other.
Yeah.
I do not believe that either of them were smart enough for what happens in this prank.
I believe if it showed up on every computer, like it does later, it doesn't show up on every computer, though. It's just Mike's.
You know what? Maybe Scott's just a better hacker.
Yeah. He is. I think he is. In the book, Scott, like, befriends a kid who's, like, actually better at Mike at computers.
Okay, I kind of like Mike being good at computers. I feel like
Scott?
that... Yeah, Scott.
I like that Scott's good at computers,
It leans into some of the stuff they do with him later.
Yeah. Okay. So then Mike, he stays calm. He pulls out his own disc.
And they play, like, all this weird, like, Western standoff music through the whole scene.
It's like spaghetti Western, yeah.
This is like the biggest duel of their lives.
And Nick's like, do it, Mike. Make him suffer.
And the first way to make your bully suffer is to like emotionally damage your teacher and make her think that someone else is into her.
The principal is into
what
her.
the fuck? So like, yeah,
It's weird.
He hacks the teacher's computer to make it look like an email came from the principal that's like, I can't stop thinking about you. Come to my office right now.
Like, Mike, you potentially ruined this woman's career over this prank.
Because she's gonna go in and start like unbuttoning her blouse.
Hey, Doug, how you doing?
It's a PS. Call me Doug. Hey, Doug, I got your email, and he's like, "Oh, good." Like it's a business email. I'm like, "Oh, good. I'm glad." And she's like, "Oh."
I feel like this could easily come back on Mike, by the way, considering his second step of the plan is to show everyone's computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then he hacks all the computers and he shows the little pig, but it has Scott's face.
The lamest prank I've ever seen.
Crowd goes fucking wild.
Everyone loves it.
Everyone's so big on this shitty pig prank.
This is just like when the guy drew the picture of Chaz Anthony.
What's this ingenious? Just the same movie.
They're very much not the same movie.
No. Bad pranks.
Smart kid.
Weird alien.
Yeah. Exactly.
The researcher genius was pretty much.
So back in the treehouse, Mike's telling more of his stories, and Jay is super into it again. And then Jill comes up and is like, "Hey, Caitlin's there to visit you. She's waiting in your bedroom." And like Mike and Nick like don't believe it.
They really spend a long time just going, "There's no way."
30 seconds, like,
right?
She's in there.
No way. And Jay says, "You're cool. What if she's there waiting for a story?"
Jay's so great.
I know, he's so cute.
Jay is gold and deserves nothing but love.
Mm-hmm. And then Mike runs into his room in like the goofiest run you've ever seen. And she's actually there.
I just love him like pausing before the stairs to be like, I have to walk a little cooler than this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I gotta freshen up a little before I walk into my own room.
Yeah. She's impressed with all of his tech stuff. And he shows her his transmitter, which sends messages into space. I wonder if this is gonna come back. And then there's a shot of the two other boys in the treehouse, like looking with binoculars into the bedroom.
I would be curious.
Yeah, I would do it too.
If you had the hottest girl in school just show up in your room, yeah, I would spy on my friends.
And then Caitlin's like, "Your prank was pretty cool. Could you help me with the school dance?"
Literally, the thing in my notes is like, this girl was impressed by the shitty pig prank. She has no taste.
It really, the better part of the prank is the ruder part with what he does to the teacher. It's good, like, so.
Like as a prank, it's like way more fucked up, but it's also like way more of a prank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one, he's just like, "Hey, I put a guy's face on a PNG."
And then, like, the guy's friend goes, "It's your head."
Yeah.
Pretty iconic.
It's on the same caliber that Scott did to him.
Yeah.
Like, if we were going back to Don't Look Under the Bed, this is like the 7th ranked prank.
Yeah, we ranked all the pranks and Don't Look Under the Bed. Okay. So Caitlin's like, "Will you help me with the school dance and do some like cool tech stuff?" And she's like, "You're the man to do it." And he says, "Me? The man? Wow, the man."
He gets
Again, completely led by a single compliment. He's very lucky people don't take advantage of that.
Oh yeah.
Imagine this is like the girl in Frenemies who just does this as a power. You know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, where she like convinces boys to do her homework for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would be the easiest target of her fucking life.
Yeah, Mike's kind of a dumbass.
Yeah.
So then we get a little montage of them like setting up for the dance and stuff.
Got a cute montage set to what I have in my notes as Wii Sports music.
It probably was. And it's Halloween themed, so this is your Halloween aspect. Like nothing else about this movie's Halloween except for like aliens. Is that Halloween like?
That's spooky to some people.
The book ends with like a Halloween parade. I guess that's something I left out.
Also, this came out in April.
It did come out in April.
The most known Halloween.
I mean, this is early DCOMs where literally every other one of them was a Halloween one.
Halloween Town. I mean, yeah, this was the
Halloween
sixth
Town,
DCOM.
Under Wraps, this one.
Yeah, for real. It was also You Lucky Dog.
Was You Lucky Dog also Halloween?
No, but I'm just saying the other DCOMs that had come out already. So that one was abstract. Brink wasn't Halloween. Xenon, you could argue, is a little Halloween vibes, but really it's not. No. And those are the only ones that came out. So 3 out of 6 movies are dealing with Halloween. Which is pretty funny. Okay, so they're setting up their Halloween themed dance. And they're setting up this turntable thing that has lights and stuff. I don't know. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty neat. It's like a disco ball with extra steps.
Yeah. And Mike says, "Who would have thought that we'd worked well together? You're popular, and I'm just Mike Pillsbury."
Little old me.
Just little old me.
Props to Caitlin. She throughout this scene is just being very forward about hey, Mike, I'm into you.
I'm into
you more than getting favor out of you.
Yeah, she says, "For a genius, you're pretty dumb. Tell me a story." And he's like, "No, I just tell my friends' little brother stories as a casual thing." She's like, "No, tell me a story anyway." So he starts talking, but then Scott comes in and invites Caitlin to go get food. Not Mike. Mike's not invited. And Mike's like, "Whatever, I don't want greasy food like you anyway."
The second those two are in the same room, it turns into a shouting match.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
They're actually fighting.
They literally hate each other.
It's pretty great.
It's incredible.
But then Caitlin breaks it up and says no to Scott and stays with Mike. And Mike is floored that she's choosing him over Scott. Even though she's done that before, she's smitten by Mike.
They're just both being Kevin James in the King of Queens promo pics to each other.
And he's like, "Strangely enough, I'm hungry." She's like, "Me too." So then they go and get food together. Aww.
It's a date that we don't get to see.
No.
But mean bullies sneak into the school that night and they're creeping around all the dance decor. And Scott finds a computer setup and he's gonna mess it up.
And he knows computer stuff. That was established.
Yeah. All right. So then at home, this scene is so weird. Mike is soldering. What is that? Soldering?
He's lights into his cummerbund.
And Joe just keeps going, "Why? Why are you doing this?"
"Mike, be normal, please." And he's like, "No, lights in the cummerbund."
Lights in my tuxedo. And the parents are like, "I want to give you a dance lesson." And then they have a VHS tape of how to dance. And then they start dancing. And that's the scene. It's pretty weird.
It is very irrelevant to the movie.
They were just scrapping for something to throw in, even though there is so much more plot they could have explained.
The entire last third of this movie goes by so
No, it's not even the third. It's the last 10 minutes. Yeah. It's the whole climax. And it's absurd. They could have stretched that out a lot more, but they didn't.
I kind of like that they did. It leaves it way more mysterious.
If only we had an extra 2 minutes somewhere. If only there was 2 minutes of footage that wouldn't change the plot at all that we could cut. Maybe from the beginning of the movie,
or maybe from the middle.
If only there was some part of the movie that was a little redundant. Could just snip a little bit.
So cut to the dance. Everyone's outside, and Mike and Caitlin head in first to set it up. And Caitlin's like, "Before it all begins, I had a great time building this with you, Mike. And let's find some time to dance tonight." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna set it up on autopilot. It's cool." So he sets up the stuff, and Scott is watching from behind the curtain because he's evil.
He's just doing evil stuff with his little evil henchmen.
Yeah. And then the lights and stuff all boot up, and people come in. And Mike makes an announcement He is so cringe.
It's very
so
cringe.
rough.
Oh,
He does not need to go and talk. He should just turn it on and leave.
Or just be like, hi, we made this, me and Caitlin. I hope you enjoy it. Like, no, he's so cringe. He says, this production was brought to you by Mike Pillsbury's Starfield Intergalactic Communications and Entertainment Corporation. That's me!
Yikes.
As well as the talented and inspirational Caitlin.
Ah, yes. I love Caitlin, no last name.
I think he did say her last name. I just didn't write it down.
Okay.
I think Sands is her last name. Caitlin Sands. I don't know. And then he like magics some flowers.
Yeah, he just randomly knows like
Close up stage magic. What? This is not brought up for the rest of the movie.
So
This is
random.
just here for giggles.
Yeah. And then he says, "Let the games begin."
Sure.
It's a dance. And the thingy spins around and people like dance around it. They're like, yeah, this thing's cool.
You got like weird little swingy monsters in the ceiling.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Behind the curtain, Scott presses a button and the whole thing shuts down. And then it starts spinning the wrong way and playing the music backwards. And it's spinning too fast and everything's going wrong.
This prank would have been great if all it did was spin the opposite direction.
Yeah, the
fact that it
You
destroys
fool.
property,
It's backwards.
it's bad. But it would be great if it was just going.
like,
Everyone just moonwalks.
there's a fine line between prank and fire hazard, and unfortunately Scott crosses it here.
Yeah, it starts lighting on fire. And Mike comes in like, no, don't fire extinguish it, teacher. Because the teacher has a fire extinguisher. Mike's like, no.
And because it's probably a lot of very expensive equipment. I guess the parents are pretty rich.
I think a lot of it's probably like school equipment. So it's not like they have one of those overhead projectors on the spinning plate.
Yeah. So the teacher sprays Mike with the fire extinguisher.
Gotta
as
put the goop
well.
photo in.
It is good.
Honestly, we've not had a goop in several movies. I kind of am like, did I lose track of count? Did I fall off this? I believe there are only 2 goopings in this movie, and it feels like there's a lot more.
There's like 2 goop moments, but there are also like several goop characters. You like don't do goop, but just are goop.
They are goop.
I'm gonna put it down as well. This is one we'll count as it goes along.
Yeah. So Mike's embarrassed and he takes off his cool light up jacket and he grabs his computer and he runs out of the gym.
Caitlin's like, what? Where are you going?
Where are you going? And then the jocks high five and transition into a lightning class.
You're watching with subtitles on, and it goes like right when it would say like clap, it says thunderclap. And it's like, oh, heck yes.
Right, so now it's literally the same scene as the beginning of the movie where they show him setting it all up again. They couldn't even cut him setting it up. Like, we know that he does it.
Wait. So he says, fellow citizens of the galaxy, I do not belong on this planet. I am one of you. I'm being held against my will. My potential to realize a happy and fulfilled life nullified by the ignorant and cruel indigenous population of Earth. You must save me. Take me away from this. Desperately in need of your assistance. Mike Pillsbury?
Yes. Come and get me. Just listen for once.
We do get that.
He does. So we're now beyond what we saw at the beginning.
It's literally the same scene. And again, the scene's iconic. I love that they did it again, but it's very realistically, the sane part of me says, why the hell did they need to do
There's so
this?
many strange decisions in this movie that like I wish they didn't do, but I'm so glad they did anyway.
Again, this is not a good actual movie.
No.
But it's
we
such
love
a
it.
fun.
There's a lot of times where I feel like there are movies that toe the line where it's both bad, good, and good. This one is this is just bad.
It's never good.
No.
Like, there's a couple of moments that I could maybe argue are good, but the whole movie as a whole is definitely bad good.
Yeah. So when the lightning strikes, the satellite like fucking explodes.
Yeah.
But Mike's fine.
Yeah, how the fuck did Mike survive that? Like, he was very close to that lightning strike.
Oh no.
He's an alien.
I guess.
He's an alien. Yeah.
Is he?
Well, we actually don't know.
We do not know.
For sure.
In the movie especially, we do not know.
Yeah. So next morning, Dad is like, well, here's the positives. Insurance will pay for the satellite, and no one at the dance was hurt. And he's like, you know what, Mike? I want you to get right back on the horse, go back to school. That varsity jacket awaits. I said he has a very unhealthy obsession with getting his varsity jacket.
And it's like, he's just so detached from his son's emotions. He's like, son, if you don't go back to school, I won't get that varsity jacket.
And then I won't be cool.
Why did I raise you?
Jill says, well, at the very least, you can help me with my homework. And Mike said, he's like, I lost the will to solve.
Such a good line.
Oh, man.
It's a small thing that we haven't really touched on. Mike refuses to talk like a real human, which does lead to the credence of him being an alien. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
Again, the way Mike delivers lines is somehow charming, annoying, dumb, all at once.
Yeah.
He's one of those people where I just genuinely have no idea how I feel about him. And it's great.
No, it's super refreshing to have a main character that is genuinely like a blank slate for you to cast on, who does all this stuff, is definitely not a dry character in any way.
No.
But like, you could have whatever opinion you have on, like, you could hate his guts, you could love him to death, and I completely understand.
So then we get like a little scene of Mike going to school, and things are just kind of awkward, and Caitlin, it's awkward with Caitlin too, where she's like, what? And he's like, nothing. Really, you can hate me. So then, like, back at home, he sulks back into his treehouse alone.
We're like halfway through the movie, by the way.
We're over a third for sure.
And we have not met an alien.
And we have gotten through about like 2% of the movie's plot.
Yeah, we're just about to meet an alien. Like, it's actually insane. So Mike's in his treehouse in a beanbag chair, and a light falls from the sky, and everything like rumbles for a little bit, like an earthquake, but it's not an earthquake. All of a sudden, there's a dog in the treehouse, and the dog talks.
The dog goes, "Hello, I'm a dog."
I mean, let's be clear here. The dog doesn't.
The dog does not talk.
He has
this
a
is
translating device, and it has lips.
It has these weird, gross lips that
are
move
blue
whenever the dog is.
The
supposed
lips
to be
are
talking.
blue.
It's amazing.
Why are the lips blue?
It's like animatronic lips that move every time the dog is supposed to be talking. It's so uncomfortable to look at.
Yeah, and we learned that he came through a Stargate, which is like a portal, and it was shaped like a doghouse.
And it was just in the room the whole time, but Mike noticed the dog before like the floating doghouse portal.
Yeah.
Somehow, that's pretty surprising.
And then
yeah.
it closes, and the dog's like, I'm Barnabas from the star system Papus.
I'm a superior life form to you awful little primitive humans. Like, Barnabas comes off as such an awful person. I'm a Barnabas hater.
You are a Barnabas. I'm a Barnabas lover.
I love Barnabas.
Barnabas is my favorite person in this film.
I hate Barnabas.
Every time he talks, I just laugh.
Every time Barnabas says anything, it's just like, you forgot about the cones.
I don't like it. Yeah. I hate him.
Funny. He represents a egalitarian organization that's like disaster relief.
He's a United Nations, or Red Cross, but intergalactic. That's his job, and he says it.
Yeah, and he goes, "We gotta go, Mike Pillsbury, off this planet. It's what you wanted." And Mike's like, "Well, thank you for coming, but I don't believe you exist."
Yeah.
What a banger line to leave any conversation.
What's even better is that earlier in that scene, you have like Mike going, "Oh, I'm crazy. Nothing about this is real," and the Barnabas is like, "You're a real smart one, aren't you?" And he's like, "I guess you're real after all." Just one compliment with Mike. It was so far.
No.
He twinkles, you know? His eyes just go.
You are real. Barnabas like then teleports out of the treehouse somehow. And he's like, don't delay, Mike Pillsbury. Other aliens are gonna come, and some of them are evil. Don't trust anyone. So then Mike goes to the bathroom and he's like, I'm crazy. Well, actually, maybe I'm just hungry. So he goes and gets food, and his lunch.
Phone's onion, showing the food.
The casual lunch of burger, chips, whole corn on the cob,
and like 3 Doritos. Also a brat. It's like
I didn't even. There's a brat.
Yeah, it's like a hamburger, a brat, a corn on the cob, and like 3 Doritos.
Oh my god, this is definitive proof the man is not human.
He's like, maybe I'm hungry.
Sounds great to me. I'm not gonna lie.
He looks himself in the mirror and he's like, maybe I'm just hungry, and he gives himself like 2 meals worth of food. It's insane. And then as he's like eating at his computer, goop falls from the ceiling into his food. And luckily he doesn't eat the goop. He's about to, but then he sees the goop, and then it goops on him.
So
this is another
the second definitive goop.
Yeah.
We got our first of the goopiest characters.
The most goopy character.
Yeah.
Meet the bomb.
The
boom. Some wrote gross booger alien with a full set of teeth.
Yeah, just a giant set of dentures. Ka-chompa.
He's like if you took like a platypus face and just stapled it to a big booger.
Yeah, with teeth. And he drops on his desk and he goes, I'm the Boom, your new best friend. He's there to handle Mike's case because he's like a lawyer.
He's
like, let's sue Earth for being mean to you.
Yeah. Shall we go?
Yeah. And then I noticed like a weird sound edit here where like he's giving his like lawyer spiel, but like Mike reaches out to try and touch him. And then they like have the audio
and someone else saying, don't touch me.
And it's weird like cut of like him in a completely different voice saying, don't touch.
No, I thought that as well.
Yeah, it does not sound good.
I think it was intentional. I think it was intentional for it to just be like he's doing this like off voice where he's like reciting a script and he goes, "Don't touch me," and he goes back to it.
Okay, so the phone rings and it's Kate.
This is the stupidest scene in the whole film.
I know, it's stupid. Caitlin's on the phone like apologizing to Mike for like ignoring him at school. I don't know.
Yeah.
And while they're on the phone, the Boom starts eating Mike's food in like the most disgusting way possible. And Caitlin's like, oh, like the dance wasn't your fault. We should just lighten up. I've been too hard on you, whatever. And then the alien like burps, but like in like a like it's the weirdest noise. It's not a burp noise.
And like, you know, again, props to Caitlin. She's like, hey, I like messed up. I want to like make it up to you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of emotional maturity that takes other DCOMs like entire movies to reach.
Caitlin's just a good person. And then Mike goes, oh, it stinks. Stop it. And Caitlin's like, what the fuck? What? And Mike's like, no, not you. It's a plumber. And now the Boom's eating the corn. And
the Boom really just wants all the food.
And then
Mike doesn't get to eat like any of it, and he was so hungry.
Yeah, and then the Boom shits out popcorn.
It just comes back.
Yeah.
Why does it cook it?
I don't know.
The Boom's a real hottie in there.
Yeah, and then Caitlin like hangs up because Mike keeps going like, oh, no.
Mike literally just needed to say, hey, I need to call you back like in 5 minutes. I understand this conversation is important, but I can't listen to you considering what's going on. I'll explain later. Hang up.
Yeah,
deal with the Boom.
It's Mike being Mike.
Instead, Mike just goes, I'm going to listen into this call, but also audibly say ew so many times.
Yeah. So then the Bohm's like, let's sue Earth. And Mike's like, I don't want to sue Earth. I never thought my transmitter would work and that you guys would really come. And the Bohm's like, fuck you, Mike. I'm going to sue you for wasting my time. And then he hops back into his goo pipe portal. Yeah. So then Mike's like cleaning up and then Nick shows up. And he's like, Nick, I had a visitor. It's an alien called a Bohm. And Nick's like, yeah, right. You threw up all over your room and now you're making stories.
Has Nick seen vomit before?
I think he really just smells it.
Okay.
And he's like, what'd you puke all over the place?
This is like green bio slime.
Yeah, this is not. This would be unhealthy to vomit.
And he's like, I guess it is sounding crazy. I don't know. And Nick's like, you can't tell between real life and imagination anymore. And then he leaves. Like, you're wild.
You ever just like walk up to your friend and it's like, you need help, and then just leave?
No. So then Mike's like walking down the street and he sees Caitlin and she sees him, but like it's still awkward between them, so he's just like, oh, okay. And he leaves. And then Barnabas is back and he's like, let's go. And Mike says, no, sorry, I can't leave. So Barnabas follows him still though. And he's like, Mike Pillsbury, we need to talk. And he teleports some more.
Barnabas just has the power to teleport, and he uses it sparingly, which is very funny.
He just like uses it specifically. It's like, you don't get to walk away from this conversation, Mike Pillsbury.
Yeah.
Which is the right way to use teleportation.
I guess, but it does like make him seem a little bit creepier.
I honestly, there was, first time watching this, there was definitely a part of me that thought Barnabas would be evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's just a good guy. He's a cute little puppy dog.
He's right to the right place. He's just real weird.
Yeah, and then Mike tells him about the Bohm, and Barnabas is like, you opened up a can of worms by sending out a call.
That's the name of the movie. Again.
Yeah.
It has no meaning.
No real meaning.
Yeah.
And Barnabas says, because of your message, Alien thinks that Earth has reached a new technological level. And Mike says, that's good. And Barnabas goes, that's bad. Because of you, Earth no longer falls under the intergalactic protection for primitive life. And Mike's like, well, the whole thing was an accident. Like, the lightning strike happened. Like, I didn't even mean to do it. And he's like, well, no one will believe that you didn't have control over it. And Barnabas offers Mike to take him away from this place so he can truly be himself. And Mike says, okay, maybe. But first I have to tie up some loose ends. I would like to say goodbye to someone. And Barnabas goes,
your family?
No, he goes, the girl?
I mean,
if you must.
In all fairness, why would Mike say goodbye to his family?
He doesn't have a good reason.
He doesn't care about saying goodbye to his family at all. He just wants
his like best friend. I guess his best friend just insulted him by saying he vomited.
Yeah, him not saying goodbye to like Nick or Jay is kind of weird, but like
especially Jay. Like,
Jay would be so sad.
Yeah. So then Mike runs back down the block to Caitlin's house and he yells for her. He's like, Caitlin! And Caitlin's like, I tried to call, but you were rude and disgusting. But Mike's like, please, I want a second chance. And Caitlin's like, okay, this is your last chance. I'll be right down. So she was like talking out the window. Now she's going to walk down her house for like 5 full minutes.
No, but the whole time, Mike's got the worm from the can of worms from the poster walking behind him.
For all these aliens, by the way, they come up with like a new like puppet. So it's a good amount of puppetry work.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cool puppets. And then there's Barnabas, who's just like a dog with a weird necklace.
He's just a dog.
He's just a dog.
So yeah, the alien's there and he has long stripy eyes. And it keeps hiding when Mike turns around. But then it zaps Mike and he can't get up. It like paralyzes him, right? And he's like, I'm gonna be your agent.
Yeah, so he's the one. Everyone has a different angle of trying to figure out how they're gonna profit off Mike. That's basically every alien is trying to do that.
A piece of Mike.
This one's idea is just, hey, the way you're gonna profit is people are gonna like your story. I want your movie rights. Also, you're gonna be on a soap opera.
Yeah. And then Caitlin comes out. I guess it doesn't take too long then for her to come out. And the alien zaps her and she's like frozen in time. And then he zaps Mike, like teleports him across the street, and he jumps on his stomach. And he's like, "You're going to be on a show." And Mike says, "Shut up." And then Mike grabs his eyes and tells him to put him back, like over by Caitlin's house. But the alien's like, "No," and he just leaves instead. So Mike's across the street and Caitlin becomes unfrozen. And Mike's like, Caitlin, I'm over here. But a bus goes by. Yeah. And so she doesn't see it.
Classic untimely school bus.
Yeah, so she thinks that Mike just stood her up again.
Pretty rude of Mike.
Yeah.
So then that night, Mike's eating dinner.
Mike didn't just go and leave, by the way, like he was planning to.
He goes home.
Goes like, well, I didn't say you.
Yeah, he didn't say goodbye yet.
Yeah, exactly. So Mike is like, "Hey, parents, am I adopted?" And the parents are like, "No."
Well, they don't say no right now. They say, "Why would you ask?"
Well, yes. Even if you were adopted, we would love you the same. But you're not. And Jill's like, "Yeah, you were. You're from another planet. As a baby, you were taken to a plastic surgeon and they cut off your antenna."
Jill literally, the whole movie, before this is an alien movie, I was like, "You're an alien."
Yeah, you're an alien. Whatever. And Mike's like, "Was I switched at the hospital?" And Jill's like, "Yeah, because you were ugly." I don't know. And the mom's like, "Why do you think you were switched? You weren't. And we promise that you're human." That's kind of the end of the scene. So then it's a new day, and Mike's walking down the street again, and then Nick sees him, and they walk together, and Nick's like, "Hey, Mike, you're a little crazy for thinking this alien stuff's real." And then they go to the treehouse, and like 5 aliens show up.
Yeah. Come meet the wonderful cast and crew.
Yeah, we've got
the alien puppets.
Lawyer alien.
Yeah, he's
TV
back.
Alien.
Yeah, he's back.
Alien that wants to smooch Mike a lot.
Yeah,
she's new. Alien who wants to make Mike sell a food processor.
Yeah.
And the 5th alien who doesn't talk but is there too.
He's also there.
It's like a weird cuckoo clock looking thing.
Yeah. And then they're all like, "We're not leaving until we get an answer." And then Mike and Nick just kind of walk out of the treehouse while all the aliens argue with each other.
They're like, "We're not leaving until we get an answer." So they go, "Okay, we'll leave."
Yeah. That night, Mike is like, "You know what? I'm just going to go." And he starts like packing up a bag. And Nick's like, "Come on, don't." And
why? It's just such a... Again, this movie will just randomly be like, "I am gonna leave."
Yeah, I am gonna leave.
Like when plot happens, it happens at such a breakneck speed.
As he's leaving, Caitlin shows up to yell at him, and Mike's like, "I'm sorry, okay? I'm leaving for another planet."
Literally.
Caitlin says, "Another planet? You're too much." And Mike says, "All I have to do is close the deal with those aliens in my yards, and I'm gone. And also, I'm sorry about the dance. For a while, Caitlin, you made me feel something that no one else did. Like I belonged here. Goodbye, Caitlin." But then like Nick and Caitlin follow after him anyways.
And like as they're approaching the treehouse, you hear like in the distance, you hear the aliens arguing.
Yeah.
It's the exact same argument they were having like way earlier in the day. Like down to the word as they were.
They just replayed.
They're just rehashing this exact same argument.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't notice. Oh my gosh! So Mike just fully doesn't believe he's like belongs on Earth.
He fully thinks he's an alien.
It's absolutely
which is such
absurd.
How confident in yourself do you have to be that you're an alien when you look exactly like a human?
Well, I think it's more of a like. His family really sucks. So he's like, "Oh shit. Oh no, I'm not real."
Okay, so then the agent gives Mike the contract, and another alien wants him to sign to sell the Jarmonica. He's like, "I don't even know what a Jarmonica is." And the bomb's like, "No, come with me." And Mike says, can't we all just get along?
Which one of these aliens would you go with?
Probably the Germanic. No, I'd go to the one that wants to date me.
I feel like that's what I'd go to last. I trust the bow more than that.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like the one that wants to date him is just like it's like a mannequin head on top of a starfish. I couldn't do it.
That's not my smooching.
No, it's like I gotta go for Jarmonica, man.
I feel like Jarmonica is probably the right.
You just become a sponsor person to sell Jarmonica.
I feel like movie rights might make sense, but I also do not trust the agent at all. I would want to try and see if there's a better one.
Yeah, it's like that agent's gonna sign you up for every like B-movie schlock.
Yeah. But then Barnabas shows up. Hooray. Yeah. And Caitlin comes out and a big light appears in the treehouse and all the aliens are scared except for Barnabas. And they run away.
They all go back to their home dimensions.
Yeah.
This is the last time we see other aliens.
And Caitlin goes, oh my god, they're real? And Mike goes, yeah. Why did they run? And Barnabas says, evil guy is here to steal some specimen for his collection. So this is the Thode.
This is the big bad of the movie. We finally are meeting him.
What, like 20 minutes to go in the movie?
Pretty much.
For real. I guess they made him a frog for the movie because snakes are scary. You think that's why?
I guess.
Yeah. So Barnabas says, if this all truly was an accident, maybe we can appeal the case. And then Evil Man comes and they're gonna run, but then Jay just shows up and he's like, whoa, gonna climb up the treehouse.
Oh, what's this cool light you have in here, Mike?
Oh, wow, this is a really cool setup, Mike. I'm the damsel of distress.
Jay, stop. Jay, stop. And he just climbs up the treehouse and gets kidnapped.
Oh, Jay, you sweet, stupid child.
And I wrote, why does Mike care way more about this than Nick does?
Yeah.
Nick is kind of unbothered.
I think Nick's still in shock from aliens being real.
Yeah. That's a fair take.
Oh my god, the Thode has him. Barnabas said it would take an army to get him back now. And now that the Thode's back on his own planet. And then Barnabas says that the Thode is going to come back and take more people until he finds the perfect specimen.
Man, if only there was a perfect specimen
nearby.
There was
someone who was so perfect and cool and like kind of hot that we could go for. Oh, Mike, what do you think? Oh man, I can't think of anyone like that.
Wait a minute,
Caitlin.
Yeah, in the book, they're like, he needs a female, too.
It's so weird, like, how much they harp on, we need someone who's going to be perfect. And it's like, you choose Scott?
Yeah, Scott's the perfect specimen.
Have you seen Scott?
Okay, so they go to, like, kidnap Scott, right? Nick goes alone. And he like
this is a wild plan. I don't get how this works.
Yeah. And Nick is there in his room and wakes Scott up.
Yeah, he breaks into Scott's house.
Yeah.
In like a full Halloween outfit.
Just like puts his hand over his mouth to wake him up.
And then Nick's like, Mike sent me here. He wants to call you out for sabotaging the dance. Also, Caitlin's gonna be there. And Scott's like, okay, I'll come. So then Scott goes to their backyard and Barnabas is like, I should warn you, Scott, about the tasks ahead. And then Mike comes out and he's like, oh, I see you met Barnabas. And yeah. So we're going to use you to trick the Thode and save Jay, who's been kidnapped, and you're the bait. And Scott's like, even if I believe you, why would I be the bait? This is stupid.
Why would I risk my life for this kid?
And Mike says,
he doesn't even know Jay.
No.
Mike says, because you're a hero. Because we're on the same football team, because we're on the same side, we're on the same side, same planet, because I dare you. You're not scared, are you? And Scott's like, no, I'm not scared.
The perfect specimen, everybody.
Mike says, just be yourself. Be perfect. And he says, no problem.
This movie it's dumb in the right ways.
Yeah. So then they like get the Thode to come back to take Scott.
How do they call the Thode? Like, why does
they just kind of put Scott? They know he's gonna come back because he's like
Jay's not the perfect specimen.
Jay's not cool.
Even though he is.
He is. He's a perfect little boy.
He is.
Jay's done nothing wrong in his life.
No.
Ever. And then they all like sneak into the Stargate. And Barnabas says the Thode senses Scott's perfection. And then the Thode like tongues Scott into the Stargate.
Yeah.
He's a frog.
And
they all go in. So they're on the Thode planet. And the Thode calls it a zoo, but humans would call it a prison.
What a banger of a line from Barnabas.
I love Barnabas. Let's keep going. And then we see Scott in a seemingly normal yard.
It is the backyard.
It's Mike's backyard.
It's Mike's backyard, but it's daytime now.
And Jay's there too. And Jay's like, don't worry, Mike will get us out of here.
Yeah, they turn and look and there's just a wall. A big gray wall.
Yeah, and like Scott turns and see it and he like has the most non-emotional surprised face as he sees the wall.
He's like,
oh no, I'm trapped. I'm so perfect.
So we see Mike and the rest of the guys walking through the zoo, and it's pretty spooky. And they find some like red glowing crystals on a pedestal. And it appears to be a master control for all of the cages. Okay, this is important for
This is important for us.
Barnabas says Scott is almost surely ensconced by the Thode by now.
Barnabas be like ensconced.
And then we get like a POV of the Thode walking by some fossils. And Caitlin has them all look at like this lava rock creature.
Yeah,
this is another puppet.
Man, let's go to the spooky space zoo and see the fire orb.
Yeah, and it like spits facts about like fossils and shit. And then they see one of the aliens that's being locked away, and it's a Hansel, which is the race that Mike thinks he made up, but maybe is also one of them. And Mike's like, I thought I made them up.
But also I may be one of them.
And he puts his hand on the glass, and the Hansel looks at him.
It's honestly like a better movie. This would actually be like a really deep and interesting idea of like you thought you've been making up this like fictional race for so long.
They don't
go
exist. Deep enough into it.
Well, and that's why, like, again, this movie's iconic because it has so much trust in itself.
This is a reveal that happens in like the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And gets like next to no resolution after this.
It's exactly how it is in the book, too. It's so frustrating. And then Mike says, we'll get you out. But they like leave for now because so then Scott says, this is crazy. Aliens. And Jay's like, don't worry, Mike's gonna save us. Like, he's so confident.
Jay is like just such a Mike fan.
Yeah.
Jay.
And then Jay says, you ever hear Mike's story about the Hansels? So then it cuts away. So you know that Jay's telling Scott the story. And then Mike and the rest of them find Scott and Jay in their cage. And they're like, there must be a way to open the cage. The Thode must have a key.
Yes, and he must be dangling it around his neck at all times.
So then like a creepy guy shows up and he looks human.
Yeah. He is definitely in a human suit.
Why?
Yeah, there's no reason.
Why is he in a human suit? He's at home.
I guess he just like wants to talk to them and not freak them out right away. I don't know.
I guess.
He's like, don't worry. Your friends will be pampered and their lives will be infinitely longer than they would be on Earth.
So it's still like a zoo. It's just a private zoo.
Yeah. He's like, I'm also going to take more specimen. You gave me these rights, Pillsbury.
Yeah, he's like, you can't do this.
Yeah.
But it's like, you said, come get me.
He said, come get me.
That was very specific.
Yeah, you know, when you say, please save me, and someone's like, put you in a zoo, I gotcha.
Yeah. He says, now thank you for being part of my collection. And he launches his tongue out again, but he misses. And everyone runs away.
For being this big threatening guy that at one point Barnabas says you would need a full army to go attack and his home planet, he's really not that good with this.
He's just like a guy.
He's just a guy. Well, now he transforms into Big Frog guy.
Yeah, and he rips up his suit, which means that he like bought and had like a suit tailored.
Yeah, I don't think he paid for it.
Meanwhile, Jay is still telling Scott the story that Mike made up, and Scott goes, kind of sounds like Mike made it up about himself, huh?
I just realized what this scene reminded me of.
What?
Remember that scene in The Other Me where the clone is talking to the bully in front of the principal's office?
Yep.
And he's like, I don't have a dad. And he's like, I didn't meet my dad either. And they like have a moment.
Yeah.
It's this.
Mhm.
It's the exact same thing.
I love me a reformed bully. I really do.
That is like your favorite.
It's like my favorite DCOM trope is when the bully becomes your best friend. It happens in The Other Me. It happens here. It happens in the swap. Yeah.
Those are 3 top 5 DCOMs.
I love them. I love
list.
all 3 of them. Like, I love me a bully that just heel turns into like protecting you at all costs, you know? Okay, so then Mike and the rest of them are hiding and running around, and the Thode makes so many groan noises. And he goes, "Come out, Pillsbury." And then Mike,
he does come out.
He comes out, and the Thode jumps over to him, and he says, "Where are the others?" And Mike goes, "Right behind you." And then they like
the Thode does a very dramatic
and they drop like a rope that lowers a cage. I don't know.
Why did the Thode have this set up?
How they planned this. There was no like pointing or anything of like, look, a cage.
Why is this cage even set up to begin with?
It's like he can catch people that come in.
No, they need like a solid like maybe 2 minutes of exposition there.
It really comes out of nowhere, right? Like I was like, oh, there's all of a sudden a cage.
No,
like,
that just wasn't the top of the movie.
Yeah. And then they just kind of grab the key that's hanging around his neck, which is like a crystal.
Yeah.
Cool. So then Mike goes to the Hansel again. I guess they went all the way back. And now they're going all the way back to the human cage because they passed the Hansel. And he's like,
yeah, they stole the key. Did we say they stole the key from Thode?
Yeah, they just grabbed it from his
it really was that easy. The Thode had like his hands on Mike as they were leaving the cage and just let go.
Yeah,
I'd like to point that out.
Well, they all like pulled him away, I think. And Mike's like, I don't know how to use this. And he's looking at the Hansel and they like talk telepathically.
Like there isn't any like sound. They just kind of stare at each other for a little bit.
I just like the concept of like mutual like nod. Like, we get each other.
It's the vibes.
Yeah.
That, like,
he's probably talking telepathically. Well, considering what happens next, which is my favorite part of this whole movie.
It's my favorite part.
Quite possibly like one of my favorite moments in all of DCOMs. And it's going to be very hard to describe for the podcast,
so
but like
I have more or less memorized the important part of it.
Okay.
Mike says, I know how this works. And then he waves the crystal around.
Yeah. So, I'm going to have to describe this. So you go.
You hold, right hand,
you hold your special rock crystal and
in front of you the window.
Yep, like in front of the window, and then you go up and to the left, and then you go to the right and do a little whoop-de-loop down until it's like right where you started, and then you kind of like start going to the left, but then pause, and then you pause for a little bit, and then you go right again, and then you go left all the way, and then you go really hard to the down and right. And that unlocks it.
That's the key.
This is the key. This is how you use the key. And Mike just literally looks at someone for like 5 seconds, goes, I know what to do. And does this very random movement of hands.
And then it opens it. And he goes, go on, you're free. Like, it looks so ridiculous. Him waving the rock around.
No amount of description will do it justice.
Go watch this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't they just like have him hold it up to the door?
I what I
You could
would
even
give,
do like one hand motion.
Yeah.
what I would give to be like in the room when the director is describing what the actors should do is like, okay, so you go up and to the left and then you do a loop-de-loop.
He's like, no, you fucked it up. You went left when you're supposed to go right. Do it again. You gotta be consistent.
Yeah, if you get the DVD version, you can get the 50 hours of glutes of Mike Pillsbury screwing up the.
I would love to own Can of Worms on DVD or VHS.
It would probably be VHS because 99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the amount of DCOMs I would love to own on DVD or VHS, this is one of the highest.
In my notes, I wrote, wave your stupid rock around to open the door. All right, so now, yeah, they go save the boys and they do the thing again, and then they're about to leave.
And like the whole time, Toad is just like breaking out of the cage.
Yeah, so the Toad's starting to break out. You can hear it in the distance, and they're like, "We have to go back through the Toad gate," and they're running out. And then they go by the main control, and Mike's like, "There's one thing I have to do first," and he does the movement over the main crystal control.
I hope that it somehow comes through, but every time we talk about this stupid crystal motion, like we're all doing it.
And it's like the whole thing about this is the action itself takes like 20 seconds.
It's so good.
So funny.
It is
so good.
Like more than 3 beats longer than it should be. It is weird. And it is played completely seriously.
It's so funny.
No laughs.
So good.
We laughed.
We laugh every time. We have on multiple occasions gone back just to watch the last 15 minutes of this movie, almost exclusively to watch Mike Pillsbury fuck around.
Like the rest of this climax is decent. This is the biggest part.
Yeah, this is the part we love to watch over and over. We had to show everyone. We're like, watch him do this.
You gotta watch
him do this. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's also making like a little like noise.
Awesome. So yeah, he like opened up all of the gates. So he could have just done it all at once, I guess.
He probably didn't think to until he'd already rescued a couple.
Yeah. So they jump through the Stargate and they're back at Earth. Although
everyone except Barnabas and
Mike, they're like, "Where's Barnabas and Mike?" But then they make it. Like it's pointless.
They like all somersault through it too.
Yeah,
which I thought was just very fun.
But the Stargate isn't showing.
It's like, shutting.
Mike
is the one who says this.
Like, isn't it that if someone or something is still traveling through the Stargate, it can't close?
Mike should have no idea about this.
And Barnabas goes, yeah, like that is how it works.
Man,
it's such a stupid way of explaining.
If only we had an extra 2 minutes of exposition somewhere.
Literally, all they had to say was, "Why isn't it closing?" And then the Toad jumps through. But instead, Mike had to go, "Oh no, isn't it that like the Toad is coming probably?"
And also, why does Mike know this? Barnabas saying this would make sense.
The Hansel told him.
Yeah.
Why would the Hansel tell him?
And they're like, "Someone's still traveling in it. That's why it's not closing." And Barnabas says, "Too late, I'm afraid. Hell hath no fury like a Toad scorned."
Again, Barnabas is iconic. We're Barnabas. This is a pro Barnabas household.
And then he goes, "I better contact the police." Beep boop, beep boop boop. He calls the police with his mouth.
Like again, like earlier in the movie, I'm pretty sure Barnabas said like, "Oh, calling the police wouldn't be of any use."
Well, he said that.
He said because the Toad was back in the Toad. Now the Toad is going to be on
coming
Earth.
Back to Earth, so the police can help on Earth, I guess.
Okay.
And he goes, "Oh, the line is busy. It's a dangerous universe. Better stall him." So they have to stall the Toad for the police to come.
I just love that the line for the police is busy. That's so sad.
This is the last 5 minutes of the movie, by the way. So the Toad shows up, and he's pissed at Mike for setting everyone free. And Barnabas says, "We have to stall until the intergalactic police show up." And Mike goes, excuse me, Mr. Thode, sir? And then the Thode pushes Mike. And Mike goes, hey, you know what? You're a big creep walking around scary little kids like that. It's so out of left field.
It doesn't matter if it's like a compliment or like just a small inconvenience. Mike Pillsbury gets set off by the smallest possible thing.
And he also gets like heartwarmed by the smallest of compliments. It goes both ways.
He doesn't get pushed like to the ground. He just gets shoved a little bit.
He's
and he goes,
a very passionate young man.
Hey, you know what? You're a big creep. He goes, on this planet, we eat frog legs.
Burn.
And then the Thode tongues Mike's leg.
It's like, I'll eat your leg.
And he tries to pull him, but the rest of them grab onto Mike, and they're playing tug of war with Mike. And they're like, Barnabas, help us. And Barnabas starts barking. And this is like a big...
because apparently Barnabas doesn't bark.
I don't know. And then a big metal door that says police.
Again, every planet has its own Stargate. This one is just the police
with like
planet.
a light on it, like a red circling light.
It's not as if
police.
It is not as if these are not gates you personalize. These are gates to specific planets, universes.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And then the alien police officer arrests the Thode. There's hundreds of warrants out on him, so they got him now. And Mike says, I didn't know you could bark, Barnabas. And Barnabas says, you gotta be a little primitive to help a friend.
They're friends.
Yeah, and then the Thode gets arrested and the BOM comes to represent him.
The BOM is just here for money. I completely...
For real.
Valid lawyer.
And the police ask for an explanation, and Barnabas goes over to explain, and Caitlin tells Mike that he did good, and everyone agrees. And then they all start talking to the police, and it fades out. So now we're in the little conclusion of the movie. They're at football.
Yeah, like that's the end of the climax. The police come and they explain it to them in a fadeaway.
Yep. So Mike's on the bench at football, and Barnabas comes over. And he tells Mike that the Federation handed down its ruling.
This is all just explained as like a vlog.
The initial transmission was deemed accidental, and they're protected once again for being primitive.
So aliens will no longer be visiting Earth.
Yeah. And the Thode is locked away, and all the captives were let go. And Mike says, thank you for everything, Barnabas. And Barnabas says, it's not too late for you to come home with me. I know we'd be happy together.
See, this is why I don't like Barnabas. It's just really weird.
It is. That was weird. And Mike says, no, Earth is my home, even if it doesn't always feel like it. It's where I belong.
Aw, wait, really?
Barnabas says, many here who feel out of place point their heads down, but not you, Mike Pillsbury. You look to the stars. Remarkable. If you wish, you may scratch me behind the ears. And then he pets him.
And the entire time Mike pets him, Barnabas is letting out the just most uncomfortable moans through the whole
scene. Imagine being a dog your whole life and never getting a squishy scratch, and then finally getting it.
Okay, but the way you get it is by like walking up to a weird alien teenager, like, "Hey, scratch behind my ears."
And then he says, "That was delightful." And Barnabas is like, I'm gonna go and try and convince my people that petting is good. Goodbye, Barnabas. I will never forget you. And then Barnabas runs off into his little doghouse portal.
That apparently no one sees.
No one sees it.
It's really just right in the open.
Yeah. And then the coach comes over and he's like, come on, Mike, let's play some football. And the dad says, that's my boy. And Mike says, yes, I am.
He didn't know the whole time.
Well, he's unsure because he could be an alien. And then Mike gets tackled again. And Scott says, like, why are you on the team? Like, you're not very good at this.
Yeah, why is he still?
And Mike says, it's where I belong. I'll prove it to you. And Scott says, dream on, Pillsbury. And he goes, you bet I will.
He takes it like
it's so
heartfelt.
We're friends now. And then Kate, yeah,
they're more or less friends.
And then Caitlin and the cheerleaders cheer for Mike.
They have like a specific Mike cheer.
Yeah, and then Scott like helps him up. And then they play more football, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, it just cuts away on them like still playing football.
Just such a weird ending to an already really weird movie.
Yeah, no, this movie is so
the
weird.
Absolute right word to describe this movie.
It's one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, sure. Not just like DCOMs or anything. This is one of the most absurd movies. It tries so much and is so confident it landed all of it, and also just the thoughts and plots don't make sense.
No.
And that's why I love it. I do love this movie.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely amazing, but it's also an absolute mess.
Yeah, you have to like a shit show.
Yeah.
You have to be okay with the fact that nothing actually makes sense. I don't do drugs. I feel like this is one movie that would be incredible on drugs.
Oh my god, it would. It would. As someone who's been really drunk and a little high before, I would watch all that. Last time I got really drunk, I took one hit of a vape that was like a weed vape. I was watching Hercules, and it was pretty trippy, and I was like, why does it feel like I've never seen Hercules before? And I feel like that if I watched Cannibal Worms.
And it finally all the plot makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, I know what he is now.
I get it. So final Jank House ranking of Can of Worms is 5.
Should be higher.
Can of Worms, I think it started at like 10 or so, then like one re-ranking we all went, no. It needs to be higher.
The top 10, I'm not going to say what all the movies in our top 10 is, but the top 5, except maybe one, are like all batshit crazy movies.
That is our opinion.
And then the other 5 are like genuinely good. It's a weird top 10 DCOM, let me tell you.
Basically, looking at the list, we have the list, and we'll tell everyone as we keep doing this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 5 are absolutely just movies we love for being insane and going for it.
Number 4 that high.
I know.
Huh.
Yeah, right? It's kind of weird.
We'll reveal that eventually.
Yeah. Number 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all generically good at being a good movie.
Yeah.
Maybe, and you know what? Out of all that whole list, number 4 would be the one I would say is the most crazy one of them. We like the crazy more than the good.
Of those? Yeah, it would be, huh?
So all that to say, we love this movie. Kelsey, I believe, had it lower than both me and myself.
So Benji, you had it at 8. I have it at 30. I'd probably move it a little higher. Where do I even have it? I have it like very high B.
I feel like it should be A at least.
It's just because it's so insane and it's not actually a good movie, but it is. I'd probably move it to A on a re-rank, on a rewatch. But like, I love the beginning and I love the end. And the middle's fine. You know?
Yeah, it's like there was like the only parts where I'm like not super down for everything that's happening is weirdly enough like the 2 scenes that are all about like the puppet.
Yeah, like that's actually I would agree.
The scene with the bone and the scene with like the agent alien both kind of suck. Everything else is just straight bangers.
It's really weird that this movie is still entertaining in the only human sections. It feels like that would be the fault of this movie.
Yeah, no, the first third where there's no aliens, I actually quite enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think the reason that this movie is so high above everything else is just, we still like this movie when it's not batshit crazy.
The aliens bring it down.
Yeah, it's weirdly enough, it's something that it shares with the number 1 DCOM there is like the most batshit parts of it
are the best
part, But the like more down to earth parts that are still
batshit.
absolute batshit are some of the best things Disney's ever made for the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
No, I would fully agree with that.
All right.
Yeah, they knocked it out of the park on the 5th one though.
For real.
Or 6th.
6th one.
And it's crazy that they never thought to replicate it because you know what? No one liked this movie when it came out, I'm pretty sure.
No one's heard of this movie.
No one's seen it.
This was an all doing this marathon. None of us had heard of this movie. None of us had even like inklings of anything it was really about.
They barely showed it.
Like we would watch videos of people ranking all DCOMs, and this was always near the bottom.
Yeah.
And we love it.
Yeah.
It's just that's what's the reason we did this marathon was to find movies like this that are just insane.
Yeah, for real.
Bad and in such a good way. All right.
That's Can of Worms.
Thank you for joining us for this.
Yes, thank you, Beans, for coming up here to Minnesota, joining us for Can of Worms.
Yeah. If there's any movie that would get me to do it, it's absolutely this one. I'm so glad it was. Because I forgot just how stupid this movie is. And like I am falling in love with it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
That's something about this podcast is like I'm getting a more appreciation for these movies that were already a big part of my life. And I'm like, I hated that movie, and now we watch it again. And I'm like, actually, that was pretty great.
Your opinion on Avalon High is completely flipped.
Oh I hated Avalon High. Yeah, I watched it again. It's because it's so stupid.
Okay.
But it's
if you
funny.
rewatch Avalon High without like the whole mystery of who is King Arthur, it's just way funnier.
It's so like camp. Like
guess I'll have to take your word for it on that one.
Yeah. Okay. Are we ready to spin the wheel?
I think so. First of all, if you have anything you want to say about Can of Worms or other DCOMs, email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Follow TikTok, the DCOM Duo. That's on TikTok.
Yeah.
Spin. I guess we got to make our predictions.
Yeah.
Stepsister from Planet Weird.
Nice.
I forgot that one.
Yeah.
Let's go from weird to weird.
Alien to Alien. I'll do Xenon for more space.
Okay. Teen Beach 2. It's got to be Teen Beach 2.
Okay. Let's spin the wheel.
That's the Beans difference movie. It's Teen Beach 2.
Teen Beach 2.
Oh, so we both owe him $1.
Oh, is that on this?
Yeah, I owe you $1 because you guess what it's fun.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
If you guess Teen Beach 2, comment down in the comments and maybe they'll give you $1.
We're not actually going to do Teen Beach 2. We
will do Teen Beach 1.
Are we?
That's how we do it. Otherwise, we don't get. Otherwise, that is mathematically how we need to do the wheel.
Yeah, that's.
It's crazy. This is one of another big franchise.
We want it. We're ready for Teen Beach.
I think we're ready.
That's what I'm like. This is a genuinely great musical, and I'm like, are we even ready to do Teen Beach movie?
I think we are.
I love Teen Beach movie. I am excited to watch Teen Beach.
What are your feelings on Teen Beach 2?
We'll get to that on Teen Beach 2. When we talk about Teen Beach 1, let me just tell you, this is very, very high on my personal list.
It's a real good one.
It's
here's your $1,
folks.
It's genuinely good.
Hell yeah!
Wow. So thank you guys for listening.
Thank you for watching this episode, and thank you for watching The Naughty Nine, which premiered live on Disney Channel pretty recently. Next time, we will be watching Teen Beach Movie 1.
Oh, is Naughty Nine the new one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's why it's different. I hope it was just as good as I thought it would be.
Yeah. Tune in 2 weeks for us to watch Teen Beach Movie.
Yay!
Thank you guys for listening.
Goodbye.
Scenes from our next episode.
Man, I love musicals.
Cruising forward, bruising.
Oh, I hate musicals.
Wait, am I gonna get that $1, or are we gonna have a problem here?
Wait, why are you still here?
Kelsey, I need that $1. I'm not leaving your house to give me that $1.
Kelsey, give him $1.
Surf, woo! Surf, crazy.
Kelsey, I want to see our dog again.
When it's meant to be.
All right, Bingo, off the balcony you go.
No!